Hello, this is Strategy,
And this is Rosenity.
and today we're casting a game between Sakagami and Bahdahboom. This is a Masters League replay between a Protoss and a Zerg.
On TU Shipyard.
And as soon as this loads, we'll introduce the players.
Let's go, bro. Come on.
It's taking a while to load, but once it loads, we'll introduce the players. In this game, we'll see a pretty long macro style game between Protoss and Zerg, where the Protoss puts on a lot of pressure so the Zerg can't just drone up till about 80 drones, which is optimal. So we have Bahdahboom as our red Zerg spawning in the 8 o'clock position, and we have Sakagami, our blue Protoss, spawning in the 2 o'clock position.
So right now, you can pretty much already see that we're going to be having a macro game just because of the spawns. But this might not necessarily be true.
We know, so we can see that by Sakagami's rally point that he's going to do a Forge Fast expand. Because he already has one probe building your pylon down there. And we know we're not going to see any 10 pool or anything really early cheesy from Bahdahboom since he built a 9 Overlord. So far it's pretty standard. They're both still making drones and probes. Sakagami is going to scout his opponent's base. He's going to the 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock position first. And so he's going to scout his enemy second. And Bahdahboom still hasn't sent a scout. He's only using his overlords to determine where Sakagami is.
And we see it in Bahdahboom's point of view. He hasn't seen anything yet. He had an overlord go over here to check for the toss.
And he has this overlord in case the toss does do some cannon rush, so he can see it.
But as we can see from Sakagami, he has much more map vision, and he's using his probe to scout around.
And now he finds Bahdahboom. He sees him going pool first, but no gas, which tells him that there's a very unlikely chance of an all-in and a more likely chance of a macro game. Now he's shift-clicking his probe in order to delay any expansion as long as possible. So now he's making a pylon to delay the hatchery. Meanwhile, he's putting down a forge and another, and we're getting ready to put down his nexus. He canceled his pylon at the natural, but now he should still be trying to delay it. He sees a drone coming, so he immediately turns around to delay it even more by putting down another pylon. Now, as you can see in the production tab, the Zerg is forced to make lanes to deal with this in order to expand. Now, this is a very good play because, as you can see, Sakagami's expansion is already underway, while the Zerg still hasn't started his.
And as you can see here, forcing this many lings is very good by Sakagami. Because look at that, 6 Zerglings.
That could have been 3 drones. And that knowing that those Zerglings would attack the pylon allowed Sakagami to put down his gateway before his cannon at his main. At his natural, I mean.
You have some good scouting by Bahdahboom.
He's going to be scouting for this probe, which Sakagami will be trying to hide up here. We have a double expand go down by Bahdahboom because he's already almost assuming that Sakagami did some fast expand build.
Now a smarter move by Bahdahboom would be only bringing 1 ling to scout around for that probe.
Which he is doing right now. He just sent 1 lane, and this lane will find the probe eventually.
Very nice play.
He has a good overlord placed near Sakagami's expansion that can be used later to scout. And it also scouts for the 3rd if needed. He sees the Forge Fast expand, and he sees Sakagami's Cyber. going down. Now, very smart by Sakagami, he's making one Zealot to save his probe. As you can see, the probe is being chased by the Zergling, but using that Zealot, he can save that probe, just barely. As you can see, the probe is still barely hanging on to its life, and then the Zealot's gonna come in and save it. Now, as you can see, Sakagami has been mainly using his Chrono Boost on his Cyber and his +1. This shows us that he'll be doing some +1 4-gate action, as we can see by the additional gateways. He still hasn't taken an additional 2 gases at his main, just starting to take them now because he wants to make sure he doesn't miss his working of 4 Zealots.
And as we can see here, pretty standard by Bahdahboom. He's still droning up at his third. It's natural. He hasn't taken most of his gases yet, and he's still on hatchery technology.
He just put down an Evo chamber, and I'm expecting him to put down a Roach one pretty soon. Now this is a very dangerous position for Bahdahboom right now. They're about to be 4 Zealots warped in, and he's still only on lanes, and the lanes don't even have speed yet.
Just now has he just started the speed.
And the Roach Warren. So this is a very strong push coming from Sakagami, even if it is only Zealous. He can only defend it with lanes and queens, and he's making 13 drones instead of like 26 lanes, which could be a mistake for Bahdahboom, as I don't know if he's gonna be able to defend this hatchery.
Oh, and focusing the hatchery instead of the queen is quite an interesting scene. And down goes the hatchery.
And now I don't think the hatchery will survive. And just now is their roach production starting.
So only one roach. This is quite interesting that he's not making.
He supply blocked. He has supply blocked for a little bit there. He just made Overlord. And now the hatchery will go down. And very smart by Sakagami, going to send only the injured Zealot to finish it and die their broodlings. Now 9 roaches coming into production and speed about to be finished. So after taking some hefty losses, Bahdahboom will hold off this push. But meanwhile, we have Sakagami taking his 3rd. So he was able to kill the Zerg's 3rd while take his own 3rd. And now, obviously, Zealots can't beat roaches, so Sakagami is wisely backing off.
+1 now going down for Bahdahboom.
And +1 armor going down for Sakagami. Sakagami warping in 3 sentries because he has a lot of extra gas, 4 sentries, because he has a lot of extra gas left from that +1 4-gate. Zealot sentry, a very cost efficient combo, and it's still pretty early in the game.
Now a good tip by another Zerg player is, now that he's made this many units and he's seen that Sakagami has backed off, which we can see here, he should be taking this watchtower. I mean, obviously, since reinforcements came so early in the game, that should be a huge signal to any Zerg player
that there's a proxy pylon somewhere.
Yep. And in this case, it's right near the watchtower, so we should be taking this.
Also, since Sakagami made so many Zealots, the Roach Force will do very well against it. And right now, this is very interesting. He's still afraid of the all-in, so he cancels his gold expansion. Even though he made so many units, and he's still making more units. He canceled his expansion. This is partially due to a lack of scouting. If you go to Bahdahboom's vision, he doesn't know the fact that Sakagami has a 3rd. If he saw that 3rd, he would not have canceled that gold expansion.
And even though that he has these
lings,
even though he has these lings, they should be scouting around. What if he has a proxy nexus right here, here, or here? In fact, he can even be teching, so he should be constantly probing up, see if he has his 3rd yet, in which case, he does.
Sakagami is now backing off to his 3rd because he knows with the cancellation of the Zerg gold and with his own established 3rd, he knows that he's pretty far ahead. They're both on pre-race right now, but Sakagami's base got up a lot earlier. The Zerg just now getting his infestation pit and speed for roaches. He's still only on 1 Evo chamber too. Sakagami now getting blink and adding more gateways because he can afford them. Building more pylons is not to get supply lock. He still hasn't taken the gases at his expansion either. The Zerg just now retaking the gold expansion.
And also, Bahdahboom is really missing some crucial drones over here. Just now is he finally saturated.
The problem with a lot of Bahdahboom's play this game is that he thought Sakagami was all in him, so he made a lot more units, but then he didn't test the waters with them because he was afraid to engage up the ramp. If he just sent one lane up and to see how many units there actually were, he would have made wiser choices. Now the problem is Bahdahboom is almost maxed on lanes and roaches, while Sakagami has a lot better units. He has immortals, he has stalkers, he has max energy sentries, and he's about to be start making Colossus now. And Bahdahboom is just getting his hive inspired, just getting a few infestors.
And this is a huge problem for the Zerg. As you can see here, even though he's almost maxed, while Sakagami is still slowly building up, he's maxed on bad units. I mean, even though he's going to make the army trade with Sakagami, it's not going to be cost efficient at all. In fact, Sakagami is most likely going to keep this army and only lose like a few units, such as these zealots, which can be thrown away easily.
And the thing with losing zealots, it would actually be favorable for Sakagami because he wants to make more Colossus and stalkers instead of those zealots. As we can see, Bahdahboom is preparing for the army trade as soon as he pops those 6 additional infestors. Now that he has his spire up and he's taking his 5th, he's going to try to push now. But the other problem is he doesn't have enough drones and he doesn't have too much minerals stocked up to rebuild his army instantly. He has enough minerals, but he doesn't have enough gas at the moment.
Yeah, as you can hear, minerals are piling way too high, 2,000 minerals. But his gas is, which is quite nice, he's going quite low on them. But the thing is, he's maxed.
He can't build anything. He's gained a greater spire, which will help him transition to Broodlord and Fester. But now, when there's a big engagement, we can see that this army, which is maxed on bad units except infestors, can't really do anything, even with the good bundles.
Force field have been okay. In fact, they're even containing all of these roaches, which are all going to go down in huge.
Now, if we look at the supply difference, they were both maxed at the beginning, but now Bahdahboom is still at around 100, barely above 100, while Sakagami is almost maxed.
In fact, 10 corruptors just now coming down. But Sakagami is ready to move out once again, for he's already maxed.
Now for Bahdahboom, since he has so little gas and he needs Broodlords, he's forced to make lanes with his extra minerals. He can't even go Rogue Broodlord or Hydra Broodlord. He's forced to make pure lane with the extra larva he has, just because of the low gas he has. Now making 80 lanes, because he just doesn't have the gas to make anything else.
And not to mention, look at these Colossus positioning. Just enough range to snipe this hatchery.
And Bahdahboom doesn't want to go up that ramp and engage because he knows he can just get force fielded out of it and lose half his army.
So we see here another Warpin coming in from the top left.
And Sakagami now taking his gold expansion while pushing. Now, if we look at the mini-map, Bahdahboom is forced to separate half his lanes just to deal with that one Warpin. And now that half his lanes are away from his main army, Sakagami can engage these Broodlords. The problem with lane Broodlord is lanes die really quickly to Colossus, and after the lanes die and the roaches die, Sakagami just has to blink forward and finish up with the Broodlord.
As we can see here, now because of this cancelled gold, this delayed mining at his 4th, Bahdahboom has no income whatsoever. His income is extremely low, meaning no reinforcements, only 5 roaches, and there's the GG.